Oh, hello, everybody. So nice to be here again to continue. This is the 5th year that we're doing this. Amazing. It was just yesterday that we got started. And here we are, still going joyfully through the meditation series that we see that it's so important to connect with ourselves, to connect vertically with the one that is always there for us that we seem to forget. When we get busy with life, we forget that when we go this way, life is a lot lighter and easier, and it gives us peace of mind. But because it's kind of hard to do that, sometimes we get here and we do little reminders on what to do to keep life that way. Before we start, I'm just going to give you a visual for you to understand a little bit of where we're going. We can go through life on a bike, watching everything, getting close to nature, feeling the breeze, listening to birds, and really being close to ourselves and enjoying it. Or we can go through life on a semi-truck with a heavy load, really pulling all that. We all know somebody that travels through life on a bike, don't we? Don't we know that person that seems to pull through stuff that you're like, how do you do this? It's not that his or her load is light. It's just that that person seems to figure it out and can do it. And you're like, wow, it's amazing. Yes. So some people just go light, like they're riding a bike through life. Everything is, they have their challenges, but they go through. And we also know those people that feel like they are riding a semi-truck and pulling all that load through life. Everything is the worst case scenario. Their drama is bigger than anybody else's. Everything happens to them. And their favorite sentence is, with my luck, and then they blah, 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 whatever they're going to say.
The message, spite.
Exactly, spite, because they almost pray for something negative to come their way. Well, whatever you put out there comes back to you. So if your wishes, your desires, the power of the words, the power of what's in your head, the power of your thoughts, the power of the manifestations you put by using certain words. You put it out there, the universe says, oh, that's what you want? Here you come. We're going to get what we ask for. So when you choose to take life the heavy way and really go and pull all the problems you've had since you were in high school, you're still pulling them. Yes, it gets a little heavier. So that's what we're going to talk about a little today. See if we can find a way to go through life a little more bike style, not so much semi-style. Just to try to make it a little lighter. Some days we are a little more on here, some days a little here, but let's find a little balance. See if we can travel by bike more often, okay? So, and that's what we're gonna talk about. The key to a healthy life is having a healthy mind. So it goes with what we just said. To have a healthy mind, it requires work. It doesn't come, oh, that person seems to do everything so easily. No, it's work. Because the negative thoughts, the fears, the uncertainty, it comes to all of us all the time. But it's how we respond to them. Okay, I am fearful of not making the promotion at my work. I am fearful of my children not getting what they need. Whatever it is that I'm fearful of. Those thoughts come to all of us because we are human beings and we are made of emotions and reactive responses. When the fear comes, the people that travel by bike tend to say, you know what, if it came to me, it's because I probably can figure it out. Because we never get what we're not able to handle. So if it's on my plate, that's for me. That person seems to, okay, let me just try to figure it out. I will ask for help, or I am going to reflect on it. I'm going to sleep on it. And tomorrow, I'll see. Maybe things will clear out. I'm not going to be reactive and respond right now. Others, the minute that fear comes, they just fuel that with more stuff. Oh, no. And then they don't even stop to reflect. They just add on. Because I remember when I was a kid, it happened too. And then, one more load. Well, and it happened to my neighbor. One more load. It always happens to me. One more load. With my luck, it will happen to me again. So there goes the heavy truck, carrying everything. As if life had no possibility of being different. This too shall pass. We've heard this before. Nothing stays forever. Not the good, not the bad, and not the ugly. It seems like the ugly stays longer with us. It does feel like it stays longer. Because when we're having fun, when life is light, when we have joyful moments, it's like, wait a minute, we just got here and we have to go. And when we are suffering and when the pain is with us, it lingers. It's almost like time has two different ways of coming to us. The good times come and go fast, and the heaviness passes slow. That perception comes from where we are and how we handle what comes. As I say, if we choose the light path, not that we're going to get rid of the pain, but we're going to be able to reflect on it and be able to look at it eye to eye and say, okay, pain, you want to come? Okay, let's sit down and have a talk. After you put it all out, it seems to settle better. I don't invite you to stay pain. I don't invite you to stay fear. I invite you for a conversation, and then you can go. That's the door. We're done. You can go. You already had your conversation and you can let it go. It's very important that we don't be with those circular thoughts. We just keep thinking the same thing, the negative, and we get stuck and we don't move and we don't move. What we're trying to go through is acknowledge the problems, acknowledge the fear, acknowledge the uncertainties, acknowledge the things that are bothering me or paining, but also understand that if I face this and I reflect upon it and I slip with it, it too will dissolve itself and I can act in a more clear way. We have a few points here that, yes. When we talk about being in a group, in a community, in a family, whatever social groups that we have, be it a small little group of 2 people or 100 people that is part of your group, we want to be the light. We don't want to be the heavy semi-truck. Because we know what it feels like to have that person who is always so heavy and so negative. When that person enters the room, everybody like, oh, okay, here we go. It's like Charlie Brown just got here. Then he's like, okay, Charlie Brown, enough. And he almost wants everybody to be sympathetic to the problems that he's going through. Even though we keep on trying, we don't want to be that person. Nobody wants to be Charlie Brown in a group. You don't want to be the one that everybody says, oh, there comes that person who is always pulling us down, the anchor. We want to be balloons, the person that makes life lighter. Is it easy? No. Sometimes we are so heavy with the true challenges that we're going through. Some of the challenges that we go through are unreal. We even say, wait a minute, are you sure I can handle this? Because I am not so sure myself. Are you sure this is for me? The whole package is for me. Because we've heard this, when it rains, it pours. Nothing comes just by itself. It's all these things from everywhere. The goal here is not to avoid the problems, because the problems will come. It's how we're going to handle it. And the way you can go through this is sometimes finding light, even though the energy, the pain, the fear is still around and lingering here. There is something that you can say to yourself. And the important thing that we can say here is, what can I learn from this? If it's in front of me, it's on my path, it's probably mine. So I can't avoid it, I can't go around it, I cannot jump it because it's still mine. I can decide to revisit it later, but it's still yours. It's still mine. So the best option is to reflect. Is there anything I can learn from this situation? Is there anything that will make me grow or will make me look at life with more resources? When you go through tough times, let's say when you're 20 and you go through tough times, when you're 30, you are more resourceful to deal with the new challenges, because the challenges will keep on coming. And then when you're 40, you get even better. The challenges sometimes seems to go ahead of you and you can catch up. But the fact is, the more challenges we face and we conquer, the more miles we have on them. So we become good at navigating them. And that's the whole point of being here on Earth. Because we're here not for a party, not for a fun ride. We're here for a growing ride. And that's the news for everybody. Nobody's here just for the holidays. We have to go through everything that is ours. So how to be light towards yourself, towards your family. I don't know if you guys if you're not here Monday, and if you have a chance to go to our website and watch the presentation that happened here Monday, it was all about family, how to be light for your family, how to be supported for your family, and how that is our treasure. The most important investment in life is your family. And sometimes your family is not the family that lives with you all the time, but your close friends can be your family. You know, whoever are the people that are part of your life. We want to be light for those people. That's the goal. We don't want to be the semi, we want to be the bike. For those who got here late, we're trying to ride life on a bike and not on a semi-truck. Take it the light, breezy way instead of heavy load pulling everything behind us. Just so you're part of what we're talking about. So when we're talking about balancing life, we have to balance all the aspects of life. The physical part of it, yes. So if I take care of my health, physically take care of my health, my knee is not going to hurt so much and my stomach is not going to hurt. So physically, I need to stay in a place that helps me. Eat healthy, we all know, exercise, try to do things that keep your body in good shape. Stretch, all the things that we have to do to keep the body physically in a good place. Emotionally, we have to check with our emotions daily. How did I do today? I was so reactive towards that person. I was very ugly, impatient, rude. Maybe tomorrow I can do a little better. Check with our emotions. That is very important. Mental. The field of thoughts that we have it's like a virus. It's very contagious. So your energy, the things that are in your head, contaminates the whole environment. If we're gonna be contagious, let us be contagious with positive stuff, because the negative is also contagious. We don't want to be those people. We want to be those that bring the light, the joy, they contribute to the group with the positive. And the spiritual is every time I connect vertically, I am stronger to connect horizontally. Every time I pull the strength from God, the one that supports me, I have a lot more to share with those around me. And that's how I become lighter. And I can travel lighter and be light for the ones around us. We are going to do a little meditation at the end, but I want Natasha to come and talk a little bit about the specifics of mental health, and then we do the meditation, okay?
Hi guys, how's it going? Yeah. So I would like to know if there's anything in particular anybody wants to talk about. Don't be shy. About mental health and being balanced, because that's like pretty broad. So there's so many things we can talk about, but what touches everybody's heart here when it comes to what is it to be emotionally balanced or light? Is it pretending that we're, is it an obsessive thing, or is it a, how do we do that in a healthy way?
I haven't figured that out yet.
I know, right? That's a big question. I am specializing in obsessive compulsive disorders, and I find it very fascinating how we can engage in certain mental acts, which is things that we repeat in our heads, but it's actually an obsession. And I find it so interesting too, because in Spiritism we also have the aspect of what it is an obsession. And it can happen not only between incarnated, disincarnated spirits, but between incarnated and incarnated, right? So it's a phenomenon that can happen all the time. And it does happen all the time. It can also happen between me and myself, right? Which happens too. So I will give you guys an example that I was thinking could be a good thing for us to discuss one day. Oh, I did something bad, so I should pray over and over again so God will forgive me. Or so I'll be good. That's an example of an obsession that we can do. So it also teaches us what it is really to pray without that weight of wanting to exchange, to get something. And a lot of times what we want is certainty. We want things to be certain. We want things to be safe. We want to have kind of like control, over things. And that's kind of the really difficulty when it comes to become more balanced, is because we don't have control. But we don't control our thoughts. I mean, at least in psychology, we know here in Spiritism that we have a little bit more, but we control the way that we behave. And that's what Chris was talking about, like the things that we do that helps us feel balanced, right? I say I struggle a lot of being balanced. I am a hyper-focused person, which means like when I found something nice, like I focus, gotta lose complete, like where was I, what was going on, but I feel like as we learn who we are and we befriend that person, it becomes much easier, because it's not a fight with myself or with ourselves. It's more I am my best friend. When I am obsessing over something, that's my alarm system. Always ringing. What does that mean? Does it mean that I'm really afraid of being contaminated? Does it mean that I'm really afraid of not have locked the door? In the space when we're talking about horizontal, yeah, it does mean that, because we're don't like uncertainty, right? But there's something else a little deeper about us. And being human, being a spirit, incarnated spirit, is a very vulnerable thing, you know, because we are a spark of light, but we are incarnated. So our bodies are made with blood, and we have hormones, and we're so vulnerable, you know. And a lot of the things that happen, we don't even see, right? We don't see all the spirits that are here, at least only not the mediums, the ostensive mediums, but not all of us. So it's really tough to be a human being. So if we see those things as flags for us to just return to the center, to feel happy, because I was made for happiness. We were made from love to love. And every time we're outside of it, we gently reconnect. So we don't need to be so concerned with what went wrong, but how can we take that as a way that it's telling me something? If I feel jealous, what is jealousy telling me? So if I focus on the jealousy, then I can obsess over it, right? But if I just say, okay, what's this teaching me? Oh, maybe I can be more on my team, right? Maybe I can be a little bit more inspired. Maybe I can go and talk to the person how they got there. So what is that? What are my negative emotions teaching me? I'm really tired. Did I eat today? Did I take a shower? Did I do the things I need to do? If somebody needs me, can I be available right now? Am I available for myself? Then I don't need to fake it, right? I don't give what I don't have. So as we become more self-aware of ourselves, like self-aware, right? We become aware of our emotions. We are more in control of the only person that we have some control, which is ourselves. Everybody else is doing their best. Does that fit a little bit in the subject, you guys think? Yeah. Any questions? Whoops.
What is the opposite? You don't obsess about nothing, and you try not to really get this kind of thoughts, the obsession. But then you don't connect with it.
Can you just say that again, if you don't
When
mind?
you're the opposite, the obsession that you just mentioned, when you don't obsess about nothing, and you don't want to obsess.
That can be an obsession itself.
Yeah.
Avoidance.
Yeah, so a few things that we do, yeah.
Even spiritism.
Yeah.
You know, I say, oh my God, I really enjoy it more. I don't want to become a fanatic.
Yeah.
So it's disconnected a little bit.
No, I totally get what you're saying, yeah. And I caught myself, I was like, I do those things, man. Like, that's why I'm now, like, connecting, because I'm just doing it with myself. It's, like, in my mind, you know, it's not... I get what you're saying. So how we don't obsess. I would say, unfortunately, we're all little obsessive. It's kind of like our brain nature, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say, it's like we had a lot of past lives, right? So it's not the first time. And interesting enough, why not everyone is obsessed about the same thing? That's very interesting. We don't know. We just call them themes. We have like 8 themes. Harm. There's people that are afraid of harming themselves, but they don't really want to. But they're terrified of all sorts of things that they can hurt themselves. There's people that are obsessed with like contamination. So they wipe everything. In COVID, we saw a lot of that. But it's like they do compulsions, which can be like washing hands, using gloves, you know, all those compulsions we do then to reduce the distress that the obsessive thought has. And we all know that those obsessive thoughts we can also have friends, right? That get kind of like tagging along, like piggybacking on it, right? Like, oh, you have an obsessive mind? Like, let's say like you're not cleaning the house in the way, so, you know, like some ideas come in. And that's one of the techniques that our brothers and sisters, you know, use when they want to invite us to be with them. So it's like the mono idea, like one idea over and over and over again. I find it very interesting because that's kind of like what OCD a lot of times is. Like I feel like one main core belief, and then from that we have a few situations that, and then we do acts to feel calmer. So I'm really afraid of getting a germ, coming home and getting my dad sick. I'm terrified. I'm terrified of making my family sick. What am I really afraid of? Maybe I'm afraid of dying. Maybe I'm afraid of being responsible. Maybe I'm afraid of being a bad person. You see the fear? And then what do? I clean. Because at that moment, when I'm cleaning that tiny little thing, I can breathe. It's clean. This one's clean. It's okay. I have control. No, I have control. And the cure, the treatment for that is to guess. I'll ask you guys. Guess what's the treatment for that? Let's say somebody comes into work and says, I have a contamination fear and I spend 10 minutes washing my hands every day, every single time I touch any door or anything. What do you think is the treatment?
To actually get contaminated?
Is exposed to what you're most afraid of. Is to be exposed to it. And it sucks, right? Like you tell somebody, no, we're just gonna... we're just gonna go and get you very contaminated. They'll be like, oh my god. No, but we do like little stares, right? Like we're gonna watch a video, maybe we'll see a picture, right? Maybe we'll go somewhere that we find it nasty, but we're just gonna like walk away, but like get close to it, little by little. Because the hypothesis here is that the fear is, I mean, at the same time that I get it, right? Like, who wants that to happen? But how likable it is to happen, right? We also know in the brain what's happening as well, what's maintaining that type of behavior. There's a part of our brain that is more dealing with more animalistic parts of us, where the fear is one of the first emotions we had as a species. And there's a part of our brain that is kind of hijacking it. It's like taking hostage everything else. Like this part of our brain's not working. It's disengaged. It's like, if I touch that, I'm going to die. Doesn't make sense. Like, but I will, So we're teaching the person to have this stress tolerance. We call it the stress tolerance, to feel calm and, to know that those things are part of life. Life is uncertain. And maybe that's the best part of it. Maybe it's not a bad thing, right? Because if we knew everything, it would be boring. And then if there was no death, how would we know about spiritual life? Right? So it's part of like, and I feel like if we all talk a little bit more about this, we can all help each other, right? Because it's really hard to be uncertain. It's not easy. It's really hard to look at your loved one and be like, oh, am I going to see you again, or are you going to die before I see you? That is hard. Oh, but there's spiritual life, like stop your spirit is like you shouldn't be thinking about those things. No, that's not true. You're going to miss then, physically. Right? Like validate your emotions, But then, like, oh, Spiritism helps me to have hope. Maybe hope is like the baby part of it, like it's, to even feel like joyful, to understand that our life continues and is much bigger than our experience on earth, in a way, and not at the same time. So like you can hold two things that are opposite at the same time, right? That's like the idea of being a human being incarnated and also being an eternal spirit, right? So even though it feels like death, when we think about it, when we come to earth, we're dying in the spiritual world. It's like a death over there. So one certainty, even when we reincarnate, like how many things do we know about our incarnation plan? What, 3? Right? There is no certainty. We have 3 things, right? When you die, when you're born, and who you maybe marry, right? Your partner.
And you know you have to pay the taxes.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, so 4 things for sure. Or you're not gonna make none of the other two. The other 3, you're gonna be like canceled. So, like, imagine if God, like, if the first cause of everything, right, the supreme intelligence, did not give us like a whole bunch of certainties. Who are we? I don't know. It's cool to just be free. And a lot of weight, like a lot of heavy too, like a lot of responsibility, right? But at least in the end, I say, like, you know what? I did it my way. I did it my way. And God loves me. He gave me a chance, and He keeps giving and giving and giving and giving. And I can be obsessed, and I can obsess with your people, and I can do all these things. And are they good for me? Maybe not. Maybe some of them are not. But I'll collect consequences. And He's not punishing me. It's not punishing me. It's teaching me. Otherwise, I would stay in the same place. I wouldn't evolve. What do you guys think about this obsessive? Do you guys want to hear more about this? I thought it was so similar to Spiritism, you know? Like the obsessive compulsive, how like it relates to some of the... Because there is something about religious... So there's a religious OCD as well. I feel like that would be cool to talk about one day. Yeah, there's a religious... Yes, please.
So where does spiritual discipline fit in with that? So if you talk about obsession, there has to be a very thin line between that and just being spiritually disciplined. Like, I'm going to meditate this amount of time every day, regardless, versus it being perceived as an obsession.
Obsession comes in when it's taking away from your life. It's not the same as discipline, you know? Like, it's when, if you don't do it, something bad will happen. Like, if I don't meditate every day, God's not going to be with me anymore, and then I'm going to be sad. And then I'm going to feel lonely. Then that's, then God is becoming like, what is it?
You cross the line at that point.
Exactly. It's becoming, you see, it's so thin. The line is so thin. And it's so many different obsessions, like infinite. Like, we're so creative with the way we make them. But yeah, it would be mostly like, what if I don't meditate today? Then I'm not going to be protected, for example. And then you do that over and over and over again. And then you're no longer doing because of the pleasure of it or because of how you feel, but because you have to. And then it gets reinforced by taking the negative consequence, negative reinforcement, which means I feel good, therefore it worked, so I have to continue. So it gets stronger. It gets what we call thicker. More and more and more. And if you say, okay, so let's go out at like your meditation time, you're like, no, I can't. Like, very rigid. Like, no, God's gonna leave me. Like, you're not gonna say it, and sometimes we don't even know like what he means. But we don't even make it into words. But if you say like, okay, what's your fear? And you're like, oh, it's because God's not going to be with me. Wow.
How about the parallel, or when they cross together, when the obsession becomes a vice, or do they become one another? They just walk in parallel lines.
What do you mean by a vice?
Vice, like, I say like I'm a gambler,
Mm-hmm.
and that's my vice. Let's say, right?
My addiction.
And that is probably because the vice was born because I was obsessed with that.
In that case, it would be an addiction. In that case, it would be an addiction.
That's the question.
In that way, yeah, addiction and obsessive compulsive is very connected. But it is a comorbidity, what we call, like, those are two different mental illnesses that walk together, because the obsessive compulsive disorder, or personality, which can be also personality disorder, is very exhausting. You guys can imagine, right? Let's think about that. Using substances help to release, and sometimes you engage in, so one feeds the other. For example, if you are addicted to gaming, like to the rush of the dopamine, right? of the all the chemicals that you have when you win, like you get that rush, you most likely will, if you could engage, for example, in bad or good luck or numbers, all of those are themes in OCD. So then you start to like, you see they are with each other, so they go hand in hand. Yeah, but I don't think we talk enough about OCD, so I feel like that's something that we don't talk enough. Yeah.
Maybe we can have a talk just about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to pass my time. If you guys have any other things you want to talk, just let me know, okay? I'll be really happy to talk about anything you guys want. Okay? Okay.
Yeah, we have to go to our meditation. There is the other slide is the root causes.
I think we're going to save that because we have
So we had it
a lot.
big way.
Okay, let's just recap a little bit here. When life happens and we don't have control. The only thing we have control of is trying to understand a little bit more of what happened, but by observing our patterns, who we are and how we respond to things, how we normally do things a certain way, and how when we do a little different, we have different responses. And little by little, we get to know ourselves a little more, and we see different outcomes. Sometimes we see the different outcomes in a good way, sometimes in not so good way. That's when we are called to readjust. And when we say not in a good way, meaning the consequences are not what we wanted, they're not positive consequences. But in reality, they are always a good consequence. Because you either learn, you are right, or you learn. If you are right, you keep doing what you're doing and you get to a better place. If you are not right, you're not wrong, you just learned. If you use that time to reflect on what happened and the pattern that you went through, you will not call it, I did it wrong, or I made a mistake, or I failed. No, I learned because I used that mistake to give me some food for thought, and I can use that to grow and do differently next time, or not, or repeat them a few times until I'm like, I think I'm tired of doing it this way. Let me try it differently. And the one thing that we have in Spiritism that is so amazing is that no matter what we do, no matter how much we mess up, we still have the love of God to cover us with the light that we need to keep on going, to keep on trying. So we're going to do a meditation to bring things to the light part of life. We are just going to work a little bit on the gratitude to have that power that washes our worries, that washes all the things that we are obsessing about. And we have the joy of being here in this place that has been prepared for us, that the energy is prepared for us to really connect. So if we are here today, that means we have a chance to really tap into that connection with God, with the love that washes over us all the time, but we do get distracted. We don't always pay attention, but it's here for us. So that's where we're going. If closing your eyes is not a thing during meditation, you can just watch this video that's very calming. If you feel better closing your eyes, go ahead and breathe with me, and we'll just go wherever we go. There is no wrong path here. Wherever you go, it's a good place to be. Like there is a book called Wherever You Go, There You Are. I love that book. I love that book.